Do you tend to put things off until the last minute?
Yes, I tend to put things off to the last minute.
If it's like really long paper, I don't feel like doing it. Most of the time I do it right away.
I do put things off to the last minute.
Yeah, all the time.
I'm a really big procrastinator.
Absolutely, I put things off to the last minute all the time.
So whenever I'm in school and I do like reports and stuff, I always put stuff off until like the last minute. I'll do it like the night before.
Honestly, I kind of do put things off to the last minute sometimes.
I try not to put things off, but I mean sometimes my work is kind of hard.
Unfortunately, absolutely. It's actually a big concern of mine because I'm actually entering college next year. And I'm real worried because I do put things off and I don't want to fail out.
I regret that though. I don't like to procrastinate, but it's one of my habits.
How frequently on weekends do you put off doing your homework until late Sunday night? Every week.
All the time.
Oh, all the time. Pretty much every weekend.
Every weekend.
Pretty much every weekend I put my work for the last minute. I mean, I can't really help it. I'm kind of busy.
Oh, almost every weekend I do that. Because it's Friday night, you don't want to be doing homework, and Saturday in the day I'm usually relaxing, so I always do it Sunday night before school.
I have to do that. I'm a kid. I have my weekends. It's my time.
I normally wake up on Monday morning to do my homework. As you can tell, I have really bad issues with procrastination.
I also have major issues when it comes to procrastination. I mean, this one time, like, I had a math project due, and I'd known about it for like months. And like the night before, there I am, up really, really late, working on it. And I was like, okay, I still have like one paragraph to write, but I'll just do it when I get to school, print it out at lunch. So I did it in the morning, and then I just totally forgot to print it out at lunch, and I ended up missing honor roll because I had like 5 points off on the project, and it totally killed my average.
I really don't procrastinate. I don't know why. I guess I'm the kind of person who, when I get home, I want to get my homework done and over with so I can kind of relax afterwards. Unless, of course, we're talking like sit-ups or like running or staying in shape, because that's something I just completely procrastinate.
Sounds like a great topic for our show today. I'll do it later. Procrastination or laziness? That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Elias. And this is
Realfaith TV. In a world filled with technology, we're always searching for some way to make everything easier.
When we come across a difficulty or challenge in our life, it can be so tempting to just let it sit there and, well, just let it sit there.
It's so much easier to say, I'll just do that or think about that later.
I think it was just about every single teen on the street that said they put things off and procrastinated.
We'll hear from them more later in the show and also discuss this topic with our studio guests.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest, Ashley, who will tell us what part procrastination plays in her life.
I'm very guilty of putting things off until the last minute. I am a huge procrastinator. My friends will tell you, my family will tell you. I always get distracted. I'm watching TV or I'm talking to a friend on the phone. I always put off homework until Sunday night, the night before it's due. I mean, part of being a teenager is going out and living your life, and you're so scheduled during the school week that you look forward to the weekends, and you should relax and enjoy yourself, because otherwise you'd go crazy. Homework kind of gets pushed aside under the desk, under my bed, wherever. And Sunday afternoon, Sunday nights usually get pretty late, and then into like Monday morning is when I'm doing the homework. Well, I think my worst case of procrastination was my junior year term paper. My English teacher purposefully planned it out so that we would have everything due in a few weeks before that final paper was due. So first came the research, then our bibliographies, our rough draft, and the final paper. And I'm someone that likes to sit down, write the entire paper at once. I'm not very good processing the way that he wanted the class to, and I got a lot of points taken off for not following his process, and I learned the next time to follow the book. I like to work under pressure, so sometimes procrastination for me can help. When I sit down and I'm about to write a paper, if I know that I have to do it right then, I'll be much more focused, and I'll really write down what's important, and I won't get distracted by other things. And I think it helps, taking a test too. I mean, you only have a certain amount of time within a class period to take a test. And certainly, it's more negative than positive, but it's not all negative. Sometimes procrastination can be a good thing. I speak for the guild, Procrastination Guild. we're not a bad bunch, really, we're not.
It's so true, and I mean, I really can't relate because I don't procrastinate so much, but I mean, everybody does it, but you really kind of have to be careful, because when it builds up, it can really do some serious damage in the long run, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Well, I guess now's the time to meet our studio guests and find out if they think they're procrastinators or not.
Okay. They are Dan, Kalechi, Vince, Mary, Daniela, Megan, and
Phil, what are you doing? Focus, come on.
Oh, We started. Sorry. I kind of had this math homework that was due yesterday.
Oh, he kind of had some math.
He kind of has math homework. Well, you know what, Phil? We kind of have a show.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, it seems that Phil is procrastinating and putting off his homework.
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, what about you guys? Do you guys procrastinate at all?
I don't think I procrastinate as much as Phil, but I do tend to procrastinate a little bit. Like, I'll wait till the day before, but I won't wait till like the very hour before.
I try not to procrastinate, but like I make lists, and sometimes I just forget that the lists are made, so that I never get to what I was supposed to do, and it hasn't affected me greatly yet.
I'm usually, in the beginning of the school year, I'm usually pretty good about not procrastinating and doing everything on time, but as the school year goes on, I'm like, I'll wait to the last minute, 3-page paper, doing it at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. Like, I get into school like the first day and I'm like, oh, I can do this, I'm ready for it. And then I start to get comfortable and I start to get to know my teachers a little bit more. And then I'm like, oh, I can get around this and I can get around that. So I start procrastinating a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big procrastinator. I remember in the beginning of the school year, I'm doing my homework. I was like a big geek doing my homework. And now I'm just, okay, I don't care.
Like, why do you guys think that is? Like,
Well, I think we're just kind of lazy, and you'd rather do it later and enjoy yourself now than do it now and enjoy yourself later.
Yes, it's really bad that I wait till the last minute, but sometimes I write a better paper last minute.
The
It
pressure.
balances itself out.
Yeah, some
every
people
once in a
work better
while.
under pressure, like in that immediate moment that they have to get it done.
I would say that I don't procrastinate because, like, the opposite almost of what Dan said before. I'd rather work now while I still have the energy after school and then kind of just be a mope on the couch around 8 or 9 o'clock at night. But it never happens because I'm always working from 5 to like 8 o'clock at night. Next, we asked the teens on the street why they think people procrastinate.
and what they think some of the distractions are that make us say, I'll do it later.
Let's check it out.
Schoolwork is pretty boring, and I like to just sit around the house and have fun and instead of doing homework.
I think homework's unnecessary, so I think that like if I pay attention in class, it shouldn't matter as long as I do well on my test. So when I find better things to do, I'd rather do that than do homework.
They feel like homework's such like a boring waste of time, so they usually want to do it later because they have something better to do during the day.
People naturally don't like to do things that they don't want to do.
Just because they don't want to do it and they know you can wait till the last minute, but it gives you a headache when you do.
They feel like they want more leisure time.
Like, people usually do it because they're lazy and they just put it off to the end.
They're busy, or I'm always busy on Fridays, so I guess I'm not really in the mood to do stuff.
There's so many distractions, there's so many outlets for people to divert their time. And because of that, it's really easy to just get caught up in something and not do what you need to do.
What are some of your distractions that keep you from completing tasks on time or at last minute?
TV, video games.
TV and family, just talking on the phone, computer.
Facebook.
I'll be on the computer sometimes and just talking to my friends, and I always just forget about schoolwork.
My cell phone and the computer and my friends.
Hanging out with my friends all the time. I'm always with my friends.
My friends and oftentimes my family.
Football, partying, and bowling.
Usually texting and TV shows. If a good TV show is, I never do my work. And I guess texting and talking to my friends and just hanging out distracts me so much from schoolwork.
Definitely, like they said, texting. Absolutely. I'll be doing my homework and it could take 10 minutes, but it ends up taking an hour because I'm just texting all these people and I don't want to stop the conversation. But so what are some things that cause you guys to be distracted?
I agree with the teen on the street. Facebook. It definitely distracts me because I'll be talking to my friend. I'll be well, I should be doing this, but I'm not. This is so much better. This conversation is so much better than what I'm supposed to be doing.
And then you update your Facebook status saying, avoiding homework.
Or I have to finish a term paper.
And then me, I go on to Bejeweled after that. It's on there for 3 hours.
Thank you,
forget
Danielle.
it.
At least you're honest about your procrastination.
That's the first step to solving the problem. Admitting you have one.
For me, definitely it has to be video games. I'll just be sitting there for hours just playing and playing and playing, doing nothing but that.
I think now that I have a car and a license, it's most definitely just not being home. I've learned to enjoy the ability to not be in the house since I've gotten my license and car. So by me not being home, it's just that when I come home, I'm there's an assignment in my book bag. There's a test tomorrow. But I have so much more fun out with my friends.
TV distracts me. Somehow when I'm doing my homework, TV, something's always good on and I have to watch that show.
Just like relaxing because like I had to wake up early to catch the bus and everything. So like I just want to come home and I had to, like I go to private school, so we had to wear like a suit and everything. So I just want to get changed and I just want to sit down on my couch with my dog and just relax.
Has there been a time when you guys have procrastinated and paid like a really big price for it?
I've definitely missed like a lot of good grades that I could have gotten if I just did the homework the night before instead of doing it at lunch.
Okay. I think like one of my big problems with procrastination is procrastinating my room, and it always leads to like cleaning it. Like it always ends up like my mom, like something like really, really big and like fun comes up, like something really awesome, like, you know, to like go to the beach or something with my friends. And my mom will be like, well, you didn't clean your room. And I'm like, please, like I'll clean it when I get back or anything. And she's like, well, you didn't clean your room, like you didn't read your summer reading book, so you can't go. Yeah. And like that's a really, like it's so annoying because it's just like I want to have fun with my friends, but I didn't clean my room and I should have done it like a month ago when she told me.
It's like, I'll be on the phone, I'm like, hey mom, can I go? Is your room clean? And I'm like, no. She'd be like, well, then there's your answer. You can't go, you didn't clean your room, you're not going anywhere. Clean your room and then we'll talk. And then I probably still won't clean my room, so I probably won't go out.
Yeah, like a year.
Every morning, like when I go to bed, I set my alarms on my phone. And when I'm ready to wake up in the morning, I was like, oh, I'll just wait 10 more minutes. I'll just wait 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
And actually just yesterday, I was late for where I needed to be just because I waited and slept so much longer.
I will admit, that is my procrastination thing. I hate waking up in the morning.
We found one.
I know, it resonated with me. I hate waking up. I can't stand it. And I do the same thing. Hit the snooze button, hit the snooze button.
Just keep
and
going.
then it's, yeah, exactly.
Nope, not time yet. 5 minutes to get ready, that's all I need.
Right, exactly.
Phil, what are you doing? I thought you finished your homework.
Oh, sorry. I'm studying my defensive plays for the big game tonight. I kind of forgot.
Sounds like someone's getting a little lazy.
It's not laziness. I just don't want to do it yet.
Laziness is rooted in the lack of motivation, a lack of purpose.
How is laziness connected to procrastination?
Well, that's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Procrastination is absolutely synonymous with laziness.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Procrastination comes from the state of laziness.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you just don't want to do anything, then you're not going to do anything.
It's with laziness. For me it is, at least. I guess when I'm lazy, I put things off for as much as I can.
I don't think it's synonymous because I procrastinate and I'm not usually lazy with my schoolwork. I just think it's because you don't want to do it at that moment.
Because if I have to do it, I'll do it, but if I find something better to do, I'd rather do that.
These are two sides of the same coin, unfortunately.
What advice do you have for someone who is a big-time procrastinator?
Coming from the wrong person, but I guess to think of what your priorities are and don't wait till last minute.
Pick up your act.
Stop procrastinating because you're never going to get anywhere. Just do work when you're assigned it, and if you wait till the last minute, it's not going to be fun.
It's like go home and do your homework as soon as you get back from school or class if you're in college, because then it's not weighing on you and you'll be able to just get it over with.
I like to make lists and like have deadlines.
But you just got to get into the habit, I guess, of getting things done. You got to, force yourself to do it. Just commit. And I guess I'm sure it gets easier with time.
Well, our spotlight guest Ashley was not as quick to lump procrastination with laziness.
Let's check it out.
I'm not sure if I'd say procrastination is synonymous with laziness. I think they're tied together. And I wouldn't like to think that I am a lazy person, even though I'll admit to being a procrastinator. If I'm doing an assignment for school, let's say a week before it's due, I kind of get distracted more easily because I know I don't have to do it, and being lazy and finding the easy way out and not doing something or not planning it when you know you could do a much better job or put in a lot more effort to it. I definitely could see a correlation between the two. Part of it's just being a teenager, and you just, teenagers aren't very responsible. But there's so many things to distract us nowadays. I mean, even just all the different forms of media we have. It's not just television. There's 600 channels on television, and it's not just the internet. It's Facebook and MySpace and Twitter and texting and using your BlackBerry. But also, a lot of my friends, we tend to overextend ourselves. So we'll work really hard in school, but we're involved in some kind of sports team, or we participate in the orchestra at school, or we volunteer in our communities. And it's not that you purposefully drop the ball on something, it's just that you're juggling so many of them that you kind of forget one thing, or if there is something you can put off until the last minute, you do, because you just want to try to find some kind of balance. I play the violin in my high school orchestra, but every time I thought about practicing, I'd say, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it after homework, or I'll do it after dinner. I'm good enough, like I can handle that piece. I can just, kind of fake playing violin, and hopefully nobody will notice. And we would have just surprise stand tests. Our conductor for our high school orchestra would just say, okay, get out, concerto number 8. I realized quickly that if I wanted to be more comfortable playing and if I wanted a better grade, I would have to practice at home. This year I was the section leader for the violins, so I definitely had a much greater role to play, and I had a lot more responsibility, and I was forced to really step up my game.
Merriam-Webster defines laziness as not energetic or moving slowly.
It defines procrastination as to put off intentionally the doing of something that should be done.
Procrastination is probably more closely related to one's own ability or lack of ability to be organized or to set priorities.
Also, the inclination to being distracted easily and or forgetful.
I think setting priorities is most important. If I have a set list of what I need to do, I know as I check things off that I'm accomplishing things. And I know for one of my favorite teachers and I, when we see ourselves checking things off of lists, it gives us motivation to do more things on the list. It's like, yay, the list is getting smaller.
For me, it's definitely distractibility, like getting your mind lost in things like drawing or doodling or writing or playing video games.
I could see that.
Yeah, I have the same problem because I do my homework with my laptop, so it's right there. Like my Facebook's right there, and all my games are right there. So it's really hard.
My problem would be forgetfulness. I'll write something down, or my mom will tell me to do something, and then I'll be like, no, I forgot. Sorry, I was going to do it, but I didn't. So then I get in trouble, or sometimes stuff just doesn't get done.
I would say I get distracted too easily. My book would be open, the computer would be on, my fingers would be cracked in homework position, and I'll think to myself, what's for lunch tomorrow? And I'll look at the phone and call my friends and say, what are you guys getting for lunch? And I tell them what I'm getting for lunch. And that's the whole night passes.
That's a good conversation right there.
I think I struggle with all of the things that I listed earlier. I don't know, just everything is my problem. Just D, all of the above. Distractibility, disorganization, forgetfulness.
Same thing with me.
It's the whole package.
Yeah.
Just not gonna lie.
Something and everywhere.
Well, it seems like when we procrastinate, it's almost like we have this just unlimited spectrum of time and space in which we can just take it up. But, Benjamin Franklin said, you may delay, but time will not.
Life goes on with or without us. We need to make an effort to organize our lives and prioritize.
We can look to Jesus as a model for this. He had a plan to fulfill, and he stuck to his plan.
Mm-hmm. Even when the road was difficult, when he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane before he was crucified.
He didn't get distracted. He stayed focused on his mission. It would have been easier to put it off or avoid it altogether.
Next, Ashley tells us why it's important to find balance in our lives and stick to our commitments.
She also tells us about a time when her procrastination almost caused her to get into a huge car accident.
You have to be spontaneous sometimes. You can't be scheduled all the time. That would drive everybody crazy. So certainly there are moments when I'll allow myself to kind of lose track of time a little bit if I'm, hanging out with my friends or if I'm watching a movie with my sister. It's important to enjoy your life, but finding balance is really important. And if you are someone like me who likes to be involved in multiple activities, it is very important that you schedule them, because if you commit to something, it's not fair to other people. If you promise you'll be there and you break that promise and you're not there. A few months ago, my friend was just having a birthday party and we all had to be there at 5 o'clock, and it's 4:30 and I haven't showered or changed my clothes or done my hair, and I forgot to walk the dog, and all these different things that I kind of forgot to do because I procrastinated as usual. And it was 5:15 by the time I got out the door, and I'm looking down at my cell phone, checking the time as I'm driving, and I'm making a right turn, and I totally forgot that there was no turn on red and another car was coming, and I almost got in a huge accident. So, thank the good Lord that I'm still here. And if I had just planned, if I had just been 15 minutes earlier, just making that one little adjustment really could have been the difference between life and death, and that was very scary for me. And sometimes it takes a wake-up call for someone to realize that they're a big-time procrastinator. As I head off for college, I'm making even more of an effort to not become a procrastinator, because I know I'm going to have an even greater workload to handle. I try to write things down a lot. I make tons of to-do lists. Post-it notes are plastered all over the walls of my room and my notebooks and everything. And I recently got a little day planner, a little calendar, and I just write all my events down for that. I also have a bulletin board in my room, and I just tack up reminders to myself. But taking simple steps like I've begun to do, just start writing things down, or even getting a family member to help remind you of something, it definitely helps.
I think it's really important to find a balance, to be able to get your work done but still have some fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about you guys? What are some ways that you're able to find balance and not wait till the last minute to complete your tasks?
Something that I learned in health class that helps me is, like, I'll come home and I'll take a half-an-hour break. I'll get changed, I'll relax, and then I'll go and do homework for an hour. And I'll take like another half-an-hour break and relax. So you don't just take all your relaxation time and then do all your work in once. You spread it out.
For me, it's really hard because during the school year, I have play rehearsal. So Monday through Wednesday, I have rehearsal, so I can't do my homework right after school because I don't go home right after school. I get home at 10 or 11. So if I have downtime and during the rehearsal, I'll do my homework then. And that way the workload is less when I have to go home and I want to go to sleep.
It's kind of hard for me to find like a motivation to do something. I mean, sometimes like if I have to do my homework and I know the project's done, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, how can I make this fun? And so like I try to motivate myself a little bit, but it really doesn't work out a lot of the time.
Yeah. I had this history teacher, this past semester, and he would give us like pages and pages and pages and pages to outline. And like, it became like really hard, and I'd be doing it at the last minute and procrastinating and everything. And then like after a while I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it like when he first assigns it, weeks before it's due. And sometimes he'd give us like time in class to work on it. Instead of just playing games on my computer, I'd like take the time to start working on it. Mm-hmm. And I had like, it was so much less stressful, and I had so much more time to focus on other classes too, because I was just getting ahead in this stuff. I think it's really important to definitely get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you procrastinate telling people something, like something really important, like have your friend and you just don't know how the right words you're gonna use or how you're gonna say it. So then you just procrastinate and then things never get said.
When we're bombarded with commitments, expectations, fears, worries, and anxieties,
we can sometimes lose sight of God in our lives.
We don't look to Him for help to get us through.
We forget to rely on prayer to help us.
Let's see if the teens on the street find faith and prayers help them not to procrastinate.
I can't say that it does, although I do put off going to church sometimes, if I'm tired or have too much work to do. And I guess in that sense that procrastination affects my faith, which is even worse.
God comes first and stuff, and I think that I put Him before a lot of stuff, and that makes me put things off sometimes.
Have you found prayer to be helpful to prevent some of your procrastination?
It does, yeah.
Not really.
I have not found prayer to be helpful in my procrastination.
No, not a specific one, but I mean, I guess I should, I don't know.
It can help sometimes.
Yeah, prayer does help in procrastination.
If I get really anxious over a test, if I get really anxious over homework, it usually helps me.
I've been starting to do that lately, and it's been working.
Actually, I have not tried prayer as a solution to procrastination, but I'll give it some thought.
Well, next, Ashley tells us how her priorities help her with procrastination.
And how her youth group experience, her faith, and her prayer life also help her with this.
The three most important are faith, family, and friends. That's what I found, and that's what's led to my greatest happiness, is really keeping those three before anything else. It's often difficult to decide what is and what is not important in life, especially when you're a teenager and you're trying to figure out who you are as a person. It's really hard to set your priorities. It's difficult to find the time to attend my youth group meetings every Sunday, but I make that a priority, and it definitely brings me back to focus and to realize what's important, because I get so distracted during the week. So many things going on in my life that I forget what's really important. Just going to youth group on Sunday night and just being with my friends and realizing how lucky I am and how fortunate I am to even be able to enjoy all those things, it's really been very important, and it's helped me not become a procrastinator, because I see if I want more time to enjoy those things, and I should not put things off like I intend to do. The quickest way to achieve your goals or to accomplish something is to be focused and to not be distracted. My faith actually does influence me when it comes to procrastination. I know people will have difficulty seeing an immediate connection between the two, but my grandmother actually gave me this bracelet for my birthday, and it has a verse from Jeremiah on it, which I love, and I read it every day. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So if I know that the Lord is planning for me and planning my future, then I should be more willing to follow through with things in my daily life and to plan accordingly for things. I have found that prayer is helpful in preventing my procrastination. I pray to the Lord that He give me guidance and help me see what's important in life. And although sometimes I tend to ignore the advice, and I definitely pray daily and just hope for greater focus. And it seems so far to have definitely helped.
I think I definitely procrastinate my faith life. I like to pray before I go to bed, and sometimes I'm just so tired that I'm like, I'll pray in the morning. Like, I'm just gonna go to bed.
I do the same thing. When I'm saying my prayers are for right before I go to bed, and then I lay on my bed for 2 seconds and I'm out.
I know that feeling.
We have to always remember to set priorities.
Organization and focus are also key when completing tasks on a reasonable schedule.
We should also remember our priorities and keep God first in our lives.
His guidance and love can help us to manage the tasks that overwhelm us.
As stated in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, there is a time for everything.
So we should really try to find the balance in our lives and set aside the appropriate time for everything we do.
And we'll have plenty of time to work, play, laugh, love,
and spend time with God and our family.
Are you always putting things off?
Or have you found a good way to prioritize and get tasks done on time?
We'd love to know. Contact us through our website.
The address is www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402.
And we'll leave you with these words from St. Vincent de Paul.
God does not hasten His works.
He does all things in their time.
So let us pray so that we too can follow this model and complete our tasks in their time.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Realfaith TV.
God bless.
So Phil, all caught up now?
Nope, I got neuroscience homework now.